Welcome back, everyone. This debate was scheduled for the Trinity term of 2020. And then something intervened. We are going to discuss that in a moment. And so it was promised that acts of God would be discussed once acts of God cease. And so here we are. Welcome back to those of you who were already here. Welcome here for the first time, for those of you for whom this is the first time. So my task is very simple. It is to introduce the introducer. So this debate, the nature of which is about to be explained, is going to be moderated by Professor Min-Young Kim, who is the director of the International Center for Mathematical Sciences at the University of Edinburgh. But of course, we all know him as once a Merton tutor in mathematics. And we also know him as the unique person on the face of this earth who is fully uncommitted to either of the points of view that are going to be discussed, and therefore no one better to introduce this debate. Min-Young, please.
Thank you. That's quite an introduction to an introduction. And, so as I understand it, my main role here is actually nothing else than keeping these two people from fighting. Right? And from what I know of them, this is a very easy task indeed. So in order to avoid being entirely superfluous, I've prepared a few introductory remarks, starting with a brief discussion of Pascal's wager. Right? I'm sure most of you know about it. This is one of the early interactions between the themes, involving the themes that will be debated today, right? At least in modern times, at least also expressed in mathematical form. So I'll remind you briefly what that's about. So Pascal's wager was about the expected value of faith. That is, I mean, if you write it out in mathematical terms, that is pretty much what he was talking about. So if you look at it, so this is in Pascal's Pensée, which was posthumous. That wasn't meant to be a joke, by the way. Well, everything I say is completely serious. So this is essentially what Pascal writes in the Pensée. And some of you may know that when mathematicians use this letter epsilon, right, the implication is that you're supposed to think of it as vanishingly small in some way, right? So that doesn't say anything about my position. But in any case, so there you go. He assumed some probabilities like this. Then he did a calculation of an expected value. So what did he calculate? This is essentially the full content of a rather long passage. That the expected value of faith, right, is you take the probability that there is no God, multiply it by the expected value, by the value you'll get in that case, and then you add the probability that there is a God multiplied by the returns in that case, right? And the point is that cost of faith, by the way, Pascal completely admits that it could be negative. Right? You have to do all these things. You have to go through the rituals. You have to pray every day, or make donations to the church and so on. So that may indeed be negative, but he's saying it doesn't matter. Why? Because the return, if there is a God, is infinite anyways. Regardless of how small epsilon is, the expected value is infinite. That's completely clear mathematical argument. What I find interesting, by the way, about this Pascal's wager is not this well-known mathematical conclusion, but it's the fact that, in fact, modern probability theory, right, in particular, the calculation of expected values, were supposed to have been first formulated in letters between Fermat and Pascal in the summer of 1654, roughly 2 months. They exchanged letters, and all the foundations of modern probability theory, according to legend, anyways, were laid down. In particular, the notion of expected value. Now, the interesting thing is that Pascal's conversion to Christianity was exactly in November of the same year. So you might want to guess. So this is an interesting thing. People have alluded to this here and there, right? But I don't think anyone, as far as I know, nobody's done a proper study of this period from the discovery of probability theory to this conversion. So one might want to look into it if you're interested in the history of sort of ideas, right? This is especially interesting because, you see, this passage in Pascal, in Pensée, where he discusses this wager, it's clever people, that is knowledgeable people, not me, tell me that, in fact, Pascal's intention was to show that reason has to say nothing about faith. That's supposed to be the point of that whole passage. That's one argument surrounded by many words that show that reason doesn't have to do with faith. And the two debaters today, of course, I think they're going to address this point. They're going to disagree with each other, we hope. But I think they're also going to disagree with Pascal in some way, in their own ways. Right? So the two debaters, of course, are Louis, a professor of theoretical physics here at Oxford, and he's researching the interface of physics, biology, chemistry, and computer science. It's quite a wide-ranging interest, and you can get some sense of the kind of specific questions that he likes to address from the title of one of his research papers. I'd like to read this to you. Symmetry and simplicity spontaneously emerge from the algorithmic nature of evolution. Right. So that's quite a mouthful, right? But for me, anyways, it's hard not to suspect